All right, welcome back to another special live version of Cooking with a Veteran. I'm your host, Dave Rogers, and today I'm going to talk about cooking French onion soup. A friend was asking me about, do I make French onion soup? And I do, okay? So, even though it's French onion soup, and I learned this version while I was in Paris. Of course, when you go to Paris, you don't call it French onion soup, you just call it onion soup. But even though it's French onion soup, we're going to be using some nice Spanish onions, okay? And so, again, I'm doing this a little bit different. I'm not doing it on the stove top. I learned this style of cooking French onion soup while on a trip to Paris, and I saw that the restaurant there, they had all these little cast iron pots that they had prepped up, and they had all the ingredients inside the pot, and they would just stick them in the oven in layers, and as people came up and they wanted their soup, they would go ahead and they would pull out a soup and throw a French baguette on top of it with some cheese melted on it. So let's get into the ingredients here. I've got my Spanish onions, I have my beef broth, I have a cup of white wine, I have some thyme, I have some ginger, and I cut my ginger kind of big. I didn't want to mince it up because it's going to bake all in there. I've got butter, and they don't say what kind of butter, so you know I'm using my Irish butter. I have my seasoning, bay leaves, okay. I have my baguette, which I toasted up, and then I'm going to put some cheese on top of it and toast that again. All right, so let's get into the cooking of it. I'm going to start, I have some nice truffle infused oil here. I'm going to put a little bit of truffle infused oil into the bottom. I'm going to throw in my butter. I'm going to throw in my garlic, okay. I'm going to throw in 2 bay leaves, throw in my thyme, okay. And now I'm going to chop up my onion, and I'm going to put my onion inside. I like baking this because it really gets the broth into the onion. And you notice I'm not putting the broth in yet. And the reason I'm not putting the broth in yet is I want to make sure that I don't put in too much broth and that I don't have room for my onions. All right, so I'm going to start by putting in my onion. And again, this is a great dish. It's a one-pot dish, which you know I love my one-pot dishes. Okay. I'm going to take my other onion. And this time you notice I am taking the outer skin off of the onion. All right, because it's not about flavoring so much. I want to make sure that I'm cooking through the onion. Now you might be wondering why I'm doing a couple of live events in a row. I was working on a big project and I kind of fell behind on my Cooking with a Veteran. I wanted to do at least an episode a week, and so this is kind of a catch-up for me. You know the onion, it makes you cry, right? Alright, so I got my onion in the pan. I got my tears in my face. Right? At this time, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to season up. I'm going to use some of my sea salt. Okay? I'm going to use some adobo, even though adobo is not in the original recipe. I add a little bit of adobo. I'm going to add in some black pepper. I'm going to add in my white pepper. Okay. I'm going to start by putting in my white wine. And I'm also going to add, I mean, it's up to you, I'm going to add a little bit of brandy. All right, brandy puts a nice flavor into French onion soup. I'm going to add about half a cup of brandy, maybe a little bit more. You know me, I love cooking with my liquors. Alright, and at this time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in my beef broth. I have 4 cups here. I just want to cover it, and if it's not enough, I see it's really not enough, I just go ahead, I got a little bit of emergency backup beef broth, and again, I just want to cover it up. Alright. That's the prepping for the French onion soup. I got my oven preheating to 400 degrees. Once it's heated up, I'm going to put this in the oven. Alright, while I'm waiting for that, I'm also going to prep. And I know, like, I see a lot of people will take the French onion soup, they'll put it in a smaller pot, they'll put some cheese on top, that's fine. I see them put a crouton on it, that's okay too. What I like to do is I take a little bit of Gouda cheese, I put it on top of my French baguette, which I toasted. And I'm also going to put in a little bit of shaved Parmesan on top. Okay. Most people would just do the Gouda, which is fine. I like the shaved Parmesan. And then, like I said, I'm going to toast up the baguettes. And then when I take the soup out, okay, instead of cooking the cheese on top, which some people don't like, or, you know, just cooking the pastry on top of it, I have the toasted baguette. And so after I put the soup in the bowl, I just simply place a baguette on top. All right. I hope you enjoyed joining us for another episode of Cooking with a Veteran. If you like our show, make sure that you like and share below on our YouTube page and follow us. And of course, as always, if there's something that you like to see me cook, send me a message and I'll pull out my recipes in my head and see what I got for you. Until next time, hoorah!